Hey Internet, I'm Chaz.
And I'm Dan. Welcome to Wine is Serious Business, episode 166. We were supposed to do 166 on cheap wines, but the episode turned out so badly that we threw it out. We're going to jump ahead. We've got a great guest here today. This is Craig Havlinek with Rio Vineyards. Why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about what got you into wine, what you love about it right now.
So I got into wine working retail of all places and started drinking white Zin back going to college. You know, you got to cut your teeth on something, so might as well go good. So I've worked my way up, came into and started with Del Rio about 3 years ago. Now I cover the Northwest, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Alaska, and we do a little exporting as well in China. So kind of exciting for us, a new venture, and nothing but to go north.
That's awesome.
And hit the stars.
Yeah, cool stuff. And Del Rio is a name that we see around a lot, even though they're in Southern Oregon. But it's a large vineyard, and they source fruit too. You just hold up that list.
Yeah, so the bottom half
everything
of the
below
page.
the line is wineries that do or have sourced fruit from them.
And a lot of Willamette Valley producers here source fruit from Del Rio. So that's where I originally encountered them for the first time. Right, I think I've been a club member with Elk Cove for a number of years, and they do a Del Rio Syrah every year. So
we do a little bit of Washington. We've had producers from Washington source fruit from us. So we're not limited to just Oregon, which is kind of nice, but we're all estate grown, all single vineyard, and family owned as well. So some really great key points that are going to give you a good feeling about drinking our wine.
Yeah, and it's been nice even since I've been talking with you. When you hear Del Rio Vineyard around here, usually you think of Syrah. But we were just looking at that. Well, here I'll put the map up on the screen here. Like you actually produce a lot more grape varieties than that.
15 grape varieties. We're the largest single vineyard in Southern Oregon. About 205 acres planted. So we do a lot of different stuff. We can cover. We don't just do Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris, though we're starting out with Pinot Gris.
Yeah.
yeah. So is this the 2011?
2011.
Okay. Anything?
So we like to do it 90% stainless, and he sends 10% of it through malolactic fermentation to kind of help gives it a nice finish on the end. So you get some nice bright fruit, clean with a nice touch of creamy finish.
There's some nice stony notes on the nose, I think, along with like the fruits on the lighter side. I'm getting more like Asian pears, kind of, with the a little bit of the peels, but kind of a stony note to it, a lighter nose. But I like that.
A bit of citrus coming through on this too. Like you pointed that out earlier, and ever since you said that, it's like sticking out at me now.
So we did, and then the special thing about this Pinot Gris is he's sourcing it from Block 8, which is a part of our vineyard, and it's kind of in the cobblestone. It's the old riverbed, so it stresses the vines. It gives it some, the soil is mostly stones, and gives it a lot of character.
And that's the red on the map, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Yep. It's the lower part of the vineyard. The river used to run through there, so it's a great part.
It's almost got like an orange juice component to it now. It's warming up a little bit, right? Since we've tasted it last, it reminds me sort of like fresh squeezed orange juice. The amount of citrus that's coming through on it, like citric acidity.
And then it's got a texture to it that seems consistent with other Pinot Gris I've had. It's even starting to edge in on some of the ones that have seen some more skin contact, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it does have
It's kind of like this fullness to it.
And these are a good point. I mean, he leaves it on the lees 6 to 9 months, so
there
extracts a lot of flavor from that. He's a 4th generation winemaker. His name is Jean-Michel Jussiaume, and his parents, he's from the Loire, 4th generation. His parents make Muscadet, is the main varietal.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is nice. I mean, it's very well done, clean Pinot Gris, and yeah, like you were saying about the texture. There's a nice texture here. The fruit expression on the palate is very nice and long. Really easy to drink. What's the retail on this?
It's around $14 retail.
Yeah, and at that price point, totally acceptable. Like really quite nice actually.
Yeah, kind of some like crisp lemon flavors there too that kind of linger in the palate. So yeah, it's kind of got like a refreshing character to it, but especially with the weight, like I can see it with like a pasta dish or something like that working.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so.
Like a little bit of lemon, olive oil, and some nice spaghetti or fettuccine.
Yeah,
maybe for Valentine's Day you can treat your honey to a little special Pinot Gris and some lemon pasta.
Pinot Gris and pasta. Yeah, this should be up in time for that. That's good. Getting into some red wine. This is
surprising to see Pinot Noir coming from Southern Oregon. A little rinse here. It's a clean glass. I've had a very small amount of it. And the last one that we had on the show was the Roussel Pinot Noir. And it actually it provides some of like the earthy, barnyardy notes that we like out of Oregon Pinot, right? And that was why kind of opened my eyes to Southern Oregon Pinot at that point, because before the previous expressions were kind of tired or just I don't know what I like about Pinot Noir.
And I could see it being a little hard, even though it's still the same state, a little harder to get into the Portland market that we just don't see as much from Southern Oregon because there's so much local competition.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition in the Portland market, and there's so many Pinot Noir producers. It is a challenge, but there is still places out in the Portland market you can get it. There's some great places pouring it by the glass. Henry's on 12th Street Tavern is pouring it by the glass right now.
Cool.
Jake's Famous Crawfish is pouring it by the glass right now. So some really great accounts supporting Southern Oregon.
That's nice info to get out. We should push people for that more often, to throw out some like places where they can buy the wine, because that's
good.
Yeah,
it's a really
it's
important
useful
restaurant.
for people who are listening, right?
So this is the 2010 Del Rio, Pinot Noir. So Valley, Oregon.
So 2010 was a great year for us. A lot like Willamette Valley. Typically we have twice the growing season based on heat units. So this is a blend of 3 different clones. It is 20% Pomard clone, 40% of 667, and 40% of 777. The Pomard clone contributes to the tannic and white pepper structure, while the 667 emphasizes the high notes. 777 brings both of them together with a rich mid-palate.
And do you do a few different Pinot Noir bottlings or one?
We just focus on one. We don't like to do a multiple. He wants to make the best possible wine with what we have and do the right blend. And then if you're in the bulk market, you can find some of our special extras that we didn't need for bottling.
Sure.
Now this is warmed up a little bit. A lot more of the fruits being expressed on the nose, and it's like really, really soft red fruit, like strawberries or sort of like really, really ripe raspberry fruit. Less of the cherry fruit that immediately tells you Willamette Valley, right? So.
And when I first tried it, so these started out kind of cold. They made a long journey today. They had started out kind of cold, and I was getting more of like the oak barrel and kind of like some woody forest floral notes. And as it's warmed up, the fruit is way more forward in the nose. And
totally.
I like that evolution. It's a lot more inviting.
There still is a bit of the oak coming through. I wouldn't say like as far as like new oak, but yeah, sort of like neutral oak barrel, right? Like a little like barrel
just a touch
funk,
of it, yeah.
and a little bit of stemminess too. It smells good.
I like the cherries and strawberries for sure. Soft on the palate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tannins definitely have like a gentle touch as they come in, and the fruit has a brighter feel to it right away. I think it's more like younger strawberries, maybe a little bit of bright raspberry right out of the gate,
and a touch of sourness to the finish too, like sort of like a cranberry sort of thing going on. Really, really, the tannins are full and they're there, but they're very nice. Like they don't sort of overwhelm the tongue at all, and they play across the entire tongue, which is sort of weird to me. Instead of being like up in the cheeks, which is where I typically get them. But overall, sort of juicy and very easy to drink, delicious. Yeah.
A little bit of floral notes in the mid palate too. Kind of reminds me of roses a little bit.
Like a rose petal.
Yeah.
Man, this
it's got some nice dryness across the top of the palate as well. I think. That
the way the tannins
make it very food friendly, I believe.
Yeah, the way the tannins come in is quite nice. I like quite a bit. And the fruit is really, really bright now that tasting is sort of warm. Good stuff.
Yeah, look, I mean, this does see some new oak too, doesn't it?
Yeah, 25% new oak.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Barrel aged for 10 months, so.
Like I can taste a little bit of that peeking out, but it's not overwhelming the fruit at all.
Right. There's no reduction here. There's no like heavy weight or anything like that. This is definitely light,
Yep.
And yeah, fresh. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and I was like pretty straight and to the point. But what was the price point on this again?
About $20.
Yeah, and I think really solid. And he said that you can find it as glass pours too. And I think this, I'd be really happy with this at a glass pour at a lot of places. I think, you know, boy, I'm sure you're right.
I think it over delivers for the price.
Totally.
I think for Willamette Valley, you're running into a lot of price points that can kind of get over the $20 mark, and I think this definitely over delivers for the $20 price point.
Yeah.
20 requires a bit of effort to like find a really good Pinot in the 20 and under category, and I would say this one competes with many of the ones we've tried before, so that we liked. So yeah, good stuff. 2010's
been a great vintage through and through for us. We also have a Cabernet and some other stuff, but the wines are showing amazing for 2010. Also have a great showing for ageability, in our opinion. So something you can. Yeah, based on the acidity and tannins that one had, I would totally agree. It'd be interesting to try that one in a couple years and sort of see how those relax, or if they do. Do you have that one? We can. Yeah, we can try it out. Go into it. So kind of show 2009 versus 2010 might be a fun little. Oops, sorry. But no, it's okay. Alright. So it's a little heavy on the wine pour, you know. It's not a. My bad. I usually do that to Dan, but yeah. Alright, so for the third one we had is Del Rio Vineyards Syrah 2010 again. So must be the big guy factor.
It could be.
Yeah. You guys need more wine.
We've got big shoulders. We can carry the weight.
All right. Wow.
So is there? I even forgot from the list. Is the Syrah kind of like interleaved with the Pinot Noir, or is the Syrah in kind of like a designated part of the vineyard that's like separate from the other things as well?
The Syrah is typically on the right side of the vineyard. We're south-facing vineyard, which a lot of people forget. But if you go down I-5, it's a part of I-5 that goes east and west, where it's not actually running north and south. So it's kind of an interesting fact. So we're actually in a little horseshoe mountain shape, but we have a little elevation change from the bottom to the top, about a 200 feet elevation change. So with the sun setting, it sets behind one of the mountains on the left. And our Syrah, as you'll see on the map, Syrah is planted more on the right side, so it gets more sun the longest part of the day. So we have Pinot Noir, which is one of the more elegant skins of the grapes, and Syrah is one of the more hardy skins for grapes. So
it takes a little more effort to ripen it.
Yeah. And it likes the sun, it likes the heat. More heat is the better. So we're about 45 minutes from the California border. We're 15 miles north of Medford. Kind of give you a geographic location. In a rough sense, we're about halfway between Napa Valley and Napa Valley. Did I say that right? No, the wine's gotten to me. Willamette Valley and Napa Valley.
All right. Yeah, there we go.
So
yeah,
we're kind of the halfway point, so it gives you some nice windshield time if you want to ever make a trip. Ashland's got some great shows to go to. You know, you got the Shakespeare Festival, so we're just a nice little stop down the way at exit 43.
All right.
I like to say from Sherwood, it's a 3.5 hour drive going 72 miles an hour without stopping for gas or the bathroom. So it's a beautiful drive.
You make it to Roseburg in 3.5, Chaz?
Oh, easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Way easy.
Yeah.
Did it on a motorcycle once in under 2 hours. So.
We can do our own math on that.
All right. So this I like the way this smells a lot. This Syrah.
Were you working for Boeing at the time?
No, I was working for Intel, but it was early in the morning, and
what was the bike? What was the bike?
A Yamaha R6. Yeah. So it was over.
It wasn't a Harley.
No, it was over 100 the whole time.
Oh, wow. So. One tank of gas too.
Yeah. Or no. So I'd stop for gas.
That's a pretty good time.
That was with stopping for gas. Yeah, I think it was like an hour and 48 minutes or something.
Folks, don't try that at home.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, can admit that from the show.
Nose just jumps out of the glass here. There's a lot of great things going on.
Sort of reminds me, like I keep wanting to go back to this like pie thing, right? Like there's like crust here, but it's more than that. There's almost like I'm thinking like blackberry jam, fresh blackberry jam on pancakes. Like I'm getting sort of like a cakey thing coming out of it. That I like.
As opposed to pie crust. I can kind of see that. Yeah, like maybe a little whole wheat pancakes or something like that, or a little whole grain.
Just a hint of that, and it
smells
super enjoyable. Yeah.
And like a touch of molasses. That's kind of like a dangerous thing to say, right? It sounds like it'd be like super heavy or goopy, and it's not.
No.
It's not coming off like that. But there's just kind of like the darker sweetness kind of wrapped in with the berries as well.
The thing I like about this is like, yeah, there's darkness to the fruit here, but there's also brightness to the fruit here, and it's enjoyable to smell.
Kind of get a dried fruit characteristic.
Which dried fruit? Like a dried cranberry?
Dried cherry? Maybe.
Dried cherries, yeah.
You get the blackberry
That
on the
makes
front,
sense.
but the dryness on the finish, that like dried cherry.
I love dried cherries. Yeah.
That's just easy to drink.
It starts out clean, and there's just like a nice core of acidity to it. It's not terribly strong, but it's full, and it really gives the wine kind of like a lighter, crisper sensation, which I like in Syrah.
Can you imagine drinking this with a barbecue?
Yeah, it'd be
Like
fantastic.
A nice little steak, or
Yeah.
I mean, this is more of a fruit forward, like a very fruity style, but there's something going on in the mid palate that reminds me of like a minerality thing. Like you talk about like stoniness or something. There's something in there that's reminding me of that, and it's when the tannins start to come up into the finish, right? And yeah, delicious. And another one that I think we were talking, is this another $20 bottle of wine?
yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
At that price. This one's got a little more to it than the Pinot. Like this is definitely a little more engaging for me.
Yeah, and I get, that fruit has a dark character to it, but there's some good depth to it. Like you really kind of like dig in and enjoy the flavors, and that acidity kind of comes up with a little bit of like lime character. It works really well together with that darker fruit. And the integration is kind of there right now, which is nice.
Completely agree.
For a wine this young. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't all fruit. Like there's something more going on here that adds some more complexity and some more depth that I'm really liking.
yeah. These wines are just gonna drink better and better as the years go on. But I definitely get what you're saying. It's got that little limestone characteristic.
Yeah,
There's
there's a stoniness, like a mid palate, stoniness in the mid palate. That's minerality doesn't often really stick out to me, but I think for some reason it does here. It's really enjoyable.
Kind of reminds me of like the Rutherford district in Napa, or not Napa, California. You get that minerality that streaks through the
Napa.
wines.
Yeah, Rutherford's Napa.
Yeah.
And the Rutherford thing for me, and I've only had it on a couple of the Cabernets, but they talk about like this sweet toffee thing going on in them, and that's like when you have it, it's amazing. Like that's the Rutherford terroir for me.
And I don't know enough
Crazy.
about it. I don't know enough about it, but
It's pretty crazy when it happens. So
we brought a little special wine today. Jean-Michel pulled this out of the tank for us, so fun little part for the show. It's going to be our future Rock Point White. A beautiful blend. I think you're going to be very surprised of it. It's a 90% Riesling with a 10% Muscat. But when you think of those varietals, a lot of times you think, oh my gosh, it's going to be sweet, it's going to be candy. This one's going to be very surprising for you.
is this dry?
I would say
It's hard
going
to
to be
tell
an off
because-
dry. I don't know what the residual is, but it's usually like around a 1%.
Anytime you stick Muscat in anything, like it's such a powerful grape.
it's so hard to tell. Yeah.
And it's hard to tell if it's going to be sweet because it's pretty remarkable like that, right? It's just an overwhelming grape, and pre-tasting this and now tasting this now, I can already even smell it in the rinse. But man, it's just the Muscat is powerful.
Aromatics, yeah. People really enjoy aromatics. You know, when you go through tasting wines and you get that pop in your nose, it's an awesome characteristic.
This is going to have a mass market appeal, the nose to this, at least I think.
And we were talking about that, like a lot of people you start out with wine, like sweet wine is kind of what grabs your attention right away. I think, the big strong Muscat punch is like really great because it forces people to think about what they're smelling too, right? Like when you're new to it, it's really hard to wrap your brain to like really think about what the wine smells like, but you can't avoid it when you get something like this.
Oh no.
Right.
From any level of wine drinker, this thing's going to knock your socks off on the nose.
And it is just like the big, like rich floral scents just
Yeah.
come roaring out of the glass.
Big time pineapple for me.
Yeah.
This always reminds me of like canned pineapples or pineapple juice, just overwhelmingly so. Even a little bit of the orange characteristics we were talking about before, floral things. Yeah, it's a powerful nose.
And you said you got a lot of Muscat. in your vineyard?
Yeah, well, it's not a lot based on vineyard size, but Muscat's a very well-producing varietal. We have about 6.29 acres. I believe we added a little bit more. We grafted over some Merlot, so that will be producing soon.
6 acres out of 200 acres.
Yeah.
So pretty small production, but you say you get a lot of it.
Yeah, you get a lot more fruit per ton than you do with Syrah or Merlot or Cab. It's just a grape that kind of takes care of itself. It's a beautiful grape.
Sure.
As you know, Muscat in the supermarket is going bonkers. So,
and I gotta say, like, it's overwhelmingly so. Like the Muscat it's very powerful in nose here, but it's pretty enjoyable. Honestly, like I like the way it smells. It's simple. It tells you exactly what it wants to tell you right up front and nothing more. Like, and you don't even need to really think about it. You're just like, it's right. So
it's been great on the patio for the summer. I think it's also, once again, I think our wines deliver across the board for food wines. You get some nice little acid notes that are going to pair well with a lot of seafood, oysters.
They should bottle this literally like right as soon as it's done fermenting, because this sort of reminds me of some white wines like right after fermentation or like right at the end of fermentation, where they've got like a little more, they've got something to them.
A little bit that sense of freshness.
Right.
I think, boy, I was talking to somebody, I think CO2 has something to do with it, like some of the CO2 that gets mixed up when you're bottling it. I think that little bit of zip comes from that.
It's very possible.
In young wines, I'm not sure if this, if this was just bottled in, there's probably a little
Yeah, sometimes wine will add CO2, this one does not, but this, we just bottled this today as a little shiner, so it's still sitting in the tank, coming together. It hasn't been filtered yet, so rough filtration, you'll see a little cloudiness in the bottle.
I like that.
And it's just going to get better before it gets bottled. So.
And it does have that lively feel to it, and and the richness on the palate coming from the Muscat is apparent. But I really like the acidity in it, and I think that's kind of like the Riesling showing itself. Is there's just like a really like fine and very very well put together structure that's kind of holding together this big like explosive top end, right?
Yeah, and I agree. Like for me, it's like it's very linear acidity, right? Like some wines we drink where the acidity rises up and it like crescendos or something in the finish along with the fruit. Like this, the fruit is totally playing in the top end of the palate or across the palate, but like the acidity is just there balancing it all out. And this is really fun to drink. It's just fun, right? There's not a lot of how could I say this? I have to cut that part. Yeah, I totally lost track of my thoughts. I'm tired right now.
Right.
I'm sorry. Just go ahead.
It's got the nice acidity just across the board. It's kind of just sticks right down the center of your palate, and I think it's a nice component of the wine. It's not just peaking at one point in time. It's front to back.
That's a really good point. Like, I think a lot of it's a risk with a lot of the Muscats too, right? Especially if you've got it sweetened up a little bit or it's a little heavier. They can be really hollow in the mid, the mid palate to the finish. Because it's just kind of all up front. And I've had that from a few different styles even, and I think I'm assuming it's coming from the Riesling, but maybe it's just quality put into the Muscat as well. There really is. The whole experience, like it holds together.
Yeah, you can have good Muscats. The $5 Muscats that you're out there buying are like pancake syrup, and this is not the Muscat you're dealing with here. So it's a beautiful character to it.
Getting some really nice like orange fruit flavors that are really light but delicious. That just kind of linger for a good length of time. I'm really enjoying that.
It's just simple. It's simple and delicious. I love it. It's breakfast wine, I think.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
I think another nice component with our wines is if you drink them cold versus when you're drinking them at a warmer temperature. The warmer temperature, you get a lot of fruit that delivers and it comes out. Versus sometimes when you're over chill a wine, it really retains the fruit and you aren't getting the full expression of the wine.
Totally, it happens. It happens with Riesling a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Too much chill can kill it, and I think these are at a very good temperature right now.
So solid stuff, and a good chance for us to like educate ourselves about what's going on in Southern Oregon, because it's different, right? Like different climate, different soil types,
different pinots.
But still, a good history of growing. And like we said, what we hear about up here is the Syrah a lot. We don't get a chance to hear about, the Pinot Gris, the Pinot Noir, right? Riesling, Muscat, all this other stuff. that you grow in a big vineyard like that. Was it 200 acres? You said
205 acres. Yeah,
205 acres.
So quite
planted
large.
acres.
Yeah.
So we have about an 800 acre estate. So we just have a little splash compared to the size that we own. But like you were saying, I think Southern Oregon still need to reach out and try the Pinot Noirs and Pinot Gris. I think they're definitely something to taste. Definitely give you a variety compared to what you're tasting in the Willamette Valley. So if you're getting bored in the Willamette Valley drinking Willamette Valley Pinot Noirs, I think it's a great way to reach out and try something new and different. And I think there's some different ones out there that you'll find that are fantastic.
I can see, stepping aside from that, just a point I want to make, I can see why people purchase Syrah fruit from you guys. Because that Syrah was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. The Pinots are delicious as well, and they're completely different. Just like you said, they're different from the Willamette Valley. But the Syrah, that was a really fun wine.
Yeah.
And everything you showed us today was great. So enjoyed it.
So that's the show for this week. And like always, we'll have our guest ask a question today to wrap it up.
So what would you rather be doing today? Watching the Lance Armstrong interview on Oprah or drinking wine with us? I think you can answer that question.
Sweet.
I'd rather be drinking wine with us.
Yeah, totally.
Cheers.
I'm glad to be sitting here with the wine. So thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have you back someday in the future. So,
Absolutely. We'd love to do it. Cheers.
Yeah, see you guys next time.